students, and welcome back to our course on Principles of Management. In our last session, we talked about how internal and external environments affect management and why it is necessary to understand them. Now, in this session, we move to our next chapter, Manager as a Decision Maker. This is one of the most important chapters because at its core, management is all about making decisions. Every action that managers take, whether it's hiring a new employee, choosing a supplier, setting goals, or launching a new product, comes down into making a choice between alternatives. Think about it for a moment. If you are the manager of a clothing brand in Pakistan, would you decide to open a new physical outlet in Multan, or would you rather invest in strengthening your online presence? Both are possible options, but which one is the better one? This is exactly where decision making frameworks help managers. So, what is decision making actually is? Decision making can be defined as the process of identifying a problem and developing alternatives, evaluating those alternatives, and choosing the best solution. In simple words, it is a choosing among different course of actions. Let's take an example. Suppose a university is considering whether to introduce a new online MBA program. The administration has to weigh factors like market demand, technology requirement, faculty availability, and cost structure. So based on these factors, they will able to decide whether the program should be launched or not. So let me ask you, if you were the dean of the university, what key things would you consider before making this decision? These kinds of thoughts, experiments help you think like a manager. So, coming to the decision making process, decision making is not a random act, it's a systematic process that help managers approach problems in a very structured way. Let's go through each step carefully with example so you can see how it works in a real world management. So coming to decision making process, step number 1 is identification of the problem. Every decision start with recognizing that there is a problem or sometimes there is an opportunity as well. A problem exists when there is a gap between the current situation and the desired state. For example, a retail store notices that its sales have been dropping for the last 3 months, or customers are not coming as frequent as before. Clearly, there is something wrong. That's the problem, and we need to address that problem as a manager. So, if a manager fails to identify the problem correctly, the entire decision making process will be misguided. For example, if a store assumes the problem is, for example, bad location, when the real issue is, while the real issue is poor customer service, the wrong decision will be made. So, the accuracy of this first step is very critical as it sets the direction for all the remaining steps of decision making. Coming to the next step, step 2, identification of decision criteria. Once the problem is recognized, manager must identify the criteria that will guide the decision. Criteria are basically the factors that matters in solving the problem. For example, in the retail store case, the manager may decide that what are the important criteria are: customer preference, or a cost of promotion, or competitor strategy. It can be a product quality, it can be a staff behavior and training. So decision criteria act like a checklist. They help managers know that to look at when choosing among different solutions. After that, step number 3, we have to allocate weights to the criteria. Not all criteria are equally important. Some may be critical, while other may be less significant. Managers assign weights to each criteria based on its importance. For example, the retail manager might decide that customer demand should carry the most weight because it directly impacts the sale. Advertising cost, while important, may carry a lower weight as compared to customer satisfaction. So, this step helps the manager to prioritize without weighing. They might waste too much attention on less important factors. So, giving weights are very important. Next step is step number 4, develop alternatives. Now that criteria are clear, the next step is to brainstorm and list possible alternatives. At this stage, managers are not evaluating the options, they are simply generating them. The retail store could consider options such as offering discounts or promotional sales to customers, or improving customer service through staff training, or it can be expanding the product line. It can be introducing loyalty programs or launching a social media marketing campaign. So, more alternatives means more chances of finding a creative or more innovative solution. Managers should encourage open thinking and avoid rejecting ideas too early. Next step is step number 5, analyzing alternatives. Once alternatives are listed, managers must evaluate each option against the criteria and weights defined earlier in the previous steps. This step requires comparing cost and benefits, risk, and feasibility of each alternative. For example, discount may attract customers quickly but reduce profit margins as well. Similarly, improving customer service may take time but has long-term benefits. In the same way, expanding the product line could bring in new customers but may require high investment. So, managers often use tools like cost and benefit analysis, financial forecasting, or market research in this step. The ultimate goal is to carefully weigh pros and cons before moving ahead. After this, step number 6, we have to select the best alternative among all. After analyzing, manager must make the actual choice. The best alternative is the one that most effectively solves the problem while satisfying the decision criteria. So, after analysis, the retail store may decide that improving customer service is the best option because it addresses the core problem of customer dissatisfaction while also strengthening the business for the long run. So, at this stage, manager must balance logic with practicality. Sometimes the best solution on paper may not be feasible due to time, resource, organizational culture. Next step is step number 7, implementation of the decision making. Implementation of decision is making a decision is not enough. It has to be put into action. So, implementation involves developing an action plan, allocating resources, and making sure employees understand their roles. For example, if the decision is to improve customer service, the retail store could arrange training sessions for the staff, create new service standards, monitor employee behavior through customer feedback. So, even the best decision will fail if it is poorly implemented. Managers must communicate clearly and provide the necessary support to ensure successful execution of a decision. Next step is evaluate the decision. This is the final step. Finally, managers need to assess whether the decision solved the problem or not. Did it work as expected? If yes, great. If not, managers may need to revisit earlier steps and try another alternative. For example, after implementing customer service movements in a previous example, the retail store evaluates sale and customer satisfaction over the next few months. If the sale increases and complaint decreases, the decision was effective. But if not, manager may try another strategy like promotional offers or loyalty programs or something else. So evaluation closes the loop of decision making and ensures continuous improvement. This structured process ensures that manager avoid hasty or emotional decisions and instead make thoughtful, rational choices that increases the chance of organizational success. A real world Pakistani example could be from the telecom sector. Imagine a company like Jazz deciding whether to reduce call rates or to invest more heavily in internet bundles. The decision making process helps them carefully weigh the cost, benefits, and customer demands. So, this is the whole decision making process. After the process, coming to the next topic, what are the types of decisions? There are two types of decisions. One is programmed and the other one is non-programmed. Manager makes two types of decisions. So, programmed decisions are routine and repetitive. They deal with well-structured problems and have standard procedures. For example, approving a student leave application in a university is a programmed decision. That are already rules and criteria in place. So, these are routine decisions and more repetitive in nature. Whereas the non-programmed decisions, on the other hand, are unique and non-routine. They require creative thinking and problem solving. For example, deciding whether to adopt artificial intelligence tool for teaching in a university is not a routine. It requires research, discussion, and strategic thinking. Think about your own daily life. Ordering lunch from your favorite restaurant is a programmed decision because you already know what you like. But deciding whether to buy a new laptop or wait for a future model is a non-programmed decision because it requires deeper analysis. Then comes a different decision-making situations. There are different decision-making situations: certainty, risk, and uncertainty. Managers also operate under different conditions. Under certainty, outcomes are known. For example, investing in a government bond guarantees a fixed return. But under risk, probability is known, but outcomes are uncertain. For example, launching a new product after market research carries some risk. You know the probability, but can't be 100% sure. And third condition is uncertainty, where outcomes and probabilities both are unknown. A great example is the COVID-19 pandemic, where managers had to make decisions about continuing operations or shutting down without knowing what the future would bring. So, if we wrap up this part, we defined what decision making is, what are the 8 steps of decision making process, and learned about programmed and non-programmed decisions, and explored the conditions of certainty, risk, and uncertainty. So, in the next part, we will go deeper into how managers actually make decisions. We will discuss rational models, bounded rationality, intuitions, common biases, and group decision making. This is where decision making gets really interesting and practical. So, don't miss it. Take care. Allah Hafiz.